I freaking love him. He was so fun.
Yeah, Mark's a great guy. Very articulate. Just a great singer. I mean, I've thought the world of him for a long time.
I actually didn't. Sorry, I'll play this again. I just didn't. I knew like 1970 something, and that's really all I knew of his stuff. I just never listened to him growing up.
Yeah.
But so I wasn't sure, like familiar, like how the podcast was going to go, just because I like to really try to familiarize myself. But it was probably one of my most favorite podcasts.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, and he's got lots of great stories. He's a good storyteller, and he's very articulate. I mean, he's just a really talented guy.
Yes.
He really is a good. And I tell you what, I've always said this too. 19-something. I wish I'd have found it first.
Yeah.
Oh,
a great song.
It was well written, for sure.
All right, here we go.
It's been quite the journey, hasn't it?
It has, man. It has. And here we are some 30 years later, and both of us still standing.
We're the elder statesmen now.
Yes, we are.
That's scary.
Go right ahead, sir. The floor is yours. When people buy a ticket to come see Mark Wills, I want them to hear the guitar player. I want them to hear the drummer. I want them to hear the piano player. I want them to hear Mark Wills.
It just seems like it's just exploded. The country is bigger than it's ever been. It's a massive format around the world.
McCoy. Neil played the buckboard literally, I swear, every 8 or 9 months.
He just wanted to dance on the bar. That's
well,
all it was.
and
he did it a lot.
he did it.
Yeah.
He did, you know.
I don't drink and party and do the things that I used to do quite as
I don't know
heavily.
what you're talking about.
So I live a much calmer existence at this stage of my life.
I have never witnessed any of that.
God, I've got great memories over the years. We've shared the stage so many times and golf tournaments and Rhubarb Jones in Atlanta, and I watched him drink a little bit too much beer and try to go through a creek in our little slough area that he shouldn't have gone through and buried a golf cart up to its freaking axles. I've seen it all.
Oh my gosh!
But he's such a talented guy. I mean, it's just he's just had. You don't realize how many great songs he's had out there over the years. He's had his share of them.
He's a dude. He's the only guest I think that wore flip flops.
Yeah, I don't remember anybody else wearing flip flops, but you're Mark Wills. You can do whatever. You can.
Yeah. I always do feet pics. I feel like it's our
Is that a fetish?
own. No. I know that does sound bad.
It's out there now. Lindsay's got a foot fetish, boys.
Lord no. But people do have foot fetishes, and so I always take a little picture from, like, I stand at the front of the bus, and I take a little picture of the artist's feet. Yeah, and and then we'll put it up on socials, and we'll say, guess who the artist is.
That's creepy.
You're creepy.
You know that Post Malone has a huge following for his feet?
From Feet Finder.
How do you know about these things?
It's a real thing?
Yeah, okay, well, speaking
Feet Finder?
Speaking of Maddie and Tay.
I thought he was just joking.
I didn't know we were talking about Maddie and Tay.
Well, we were talking about one time because I can't remember, somebody in the office, probably Kyleigh, brought it up and said something like, oh, let's see if who's of our clients are on Feet Finder. And a lot of females are on there because they wear open-toed shoes to, like, award shows or whatnot. And people take pictures and they rate their feet. Yeah.
Post has like a 9 out of 10, something like that. It's
so weird.
Crazy.
So weird.
People are obsessed with his feet.
Wow.
Weird.
I know.
I don't really know what to say about that. And the fact that you know about all this is really weirding me out a little bit more.
I feel like it's part of the job.
Like all that stuff on OnlyFans? I've never even been on OnlyFans.
I don't know, but if I could sell feet pics on OnlyFans and make my house payment, I'd do it. Why not?
Fair enough.
There's your
Why not?
revenue stream.
Look for my account handle. Okay, we have Lily Rose. If you're ready to move on.
She's got great feet.
How lucky are we that we get to do this every day with the people that we love? It's amazing. But if you go in there and you try to write anything that's current or anything that's not yourself, you're already losing. I feel way too old to be on this app, but I've seen people get record deals from this, and I don't want to work at Opera Mills Mall or take customer service phone calls anymore, so.
Yeah, I was big into Rumple Mints from the 90s. I mean, that stuff eat the lining out of your stomach.
So it wasn't until I was in 6th, 7th grade when we really all started burning CDs for each other and iTunes came out that I got exposed to I Go Back by Kenny Chesney, and I quite literally never went back.
I've never had an outside cut.
No way.
I never have pitched any of my stuff. I've never had a publishing deal. I've always
Good
had
for
all
you,
my
dude.
own stuff. I've always
Dude,
kept
that's
it
why
out.
we're on your estate right now.
Yeah. She's another one of those really young, talented traditionalists that is just kind of finding their own way, doing their own thing. I was very impressed with her. She's got a lot of potential. I think she's going to continue to do great.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's so well spoken too.
She really is. Well, I wonder what's going on with her at this stage, where she's at right now.
Yeah, so she just finished up a tour in the fall, or this fall, I
Yep.
guess she finished.
Who's she
and
out with?
It was her headline.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, Old 60. Oh yeah, we had
I
them.
love
They
them.
were our 3.
Yep.
They were cool. And dude's name is Catfish.
I
I was like,
know.
right on, man.
It's a great band.
Yeah.
They sound great.
Everybody craves the authenticity now, and they want the rawness and just the honesty.
There's no real like target audience, I guess, for like the style of music that we do, because it's like all the influences come together
Yeah.
in like such a wide variety.
She's like, let me light it, and she
Oh,
literally
yeah.
like buried it in there, and I was like, oh no, and I'm like still playing, and I'm like, I got to do something.
My face is on fire.
Yeah.
We played our first headline show, and it was just a surreal experience. You know,
Yeah.
there were some people singing unreleased stuff, and it's how do you know that? You know,
I played every crappy venue in this country. I've done them all, brother.
before we go on stage, we pray and then we break it down. You know, 1, 2, 3, and we say Pantera. And then we go out there and play.
Oh, that's funny.
No, Bo Darrell. Yeah. They're a very interesting group, man. Another group that's kind of blazing their own trail. What did you find interesting about them, Scott? Give me your perspective.
Oh, well, we always listen to them, kind of get a feel for what they sound like. And, sometimes I dig it. Sometimes it's not my thing, but this really was, because it's
Yeah.
kind of a Grateful Dead
real
sound.
eclectic, just real raw. I thought they
Yeah.
were very interesting. And technically, that was our first group of 3 that we had. We upped our production that we talked about earlier and made some changes. So that's
Yeah.
one of those things that we pulled. I was like, we're going to do this.
They were
Yeah.
excited too.
Yeah.
Like they were so stoked. That one was interesting because they were talking about their social media numbers. Like they went in January, they had like, this is not the number, but they had like 5,000. And then literally 3 months later, they had 180,000. Nice. And it was like, how did you do that? That is literal overnight success. How did you do that?
Word of mouth. I
Yeah.
mean, people find stuff. They do like the rest of us stuff. They're on TikTok with that, doing that
thumb.
thumb workout.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah, that was so
Till
cool.
your eyes look like
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty fascinating times we live in. Carry on.
All right, Brian Martin.
If I'm not doing this to change the game in my own way, but make an impact that's relatable and withstandable through the test of time, I don't want to do it. So we all know what opinions are. They're all like that. We all got one. I said, but if you don't like mine, you can shove it up yours. You can't ever tell what somebody's been through, the trauma they've been through, and
The heartbreak.
the heartbreak.
I remember him singing, I'm going to be somebody. And I was right in front of him going, I'm going to be somebody too.
Man, that
I need to get my
on.
phone out and start
Yeah.
writing song ideas.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
He just throwing that.
Dude, we can do it. Hey, I tell you what, when we done with this podcast, when we ain't got so many co-writers in here.
Yeah, I tap out at 3. I
Tap
mean,
out.
only done me and 2 more. That's
If it
all I
ain't a
cap
third,
out.
it ain't worth the turd.
I pulled up the bit.
I was fascinated by that guy. I've been around a lot of really good, successful songwriters over the years, some really talented people. And other than a brief moment that I met Chris Christopherson years ago, there was nobody like him that I ever met that just oozing songs out of him constantly. Just to let y'all know, Brian's had to step away from the spotlight for a little bit. He's had some personal issues that he's dealing with. So we hope that he's going to kind of get some things straightened out and come back. There's so much talent there. That boy has had a little bit of a traumatic life. He's been down a journey that made him very fascinating to me. So y'all keep that young man in your prayers because he's so talented, and I hope he finds his way back to what his true calling is and he gets back out here with all of us because he's an amazing songwriter and a talented singer as well. I mean, the kid's got a whole lot of potential.
He has a song on the charts right now.
Yeah.
Again, so I think that I think that he's finding his way back. Which is good.
I hope so, because really, I was very impressed with him. I mean, it just comes out of him. Some people just have that natural gift. I mean, it literally just rolls out of him. It's amazing to sit here and listen to him. Yep.
All right, Miss Terry Clark.
Love her.
I'm grateful that I can kind of pick and choose what I want to do now, and I choose to still do it because I love it. The more new people that come along in country music, the more I appreciate my friends when I see them again. It's like we grew up together in this. If social media had existed when in the 90s, I would have been fired a long time ago, pretty sure.
And all that crap that people say, if I could go back, I'd do it different. The only thing I'd do is do it harder.
When did your tour start? My tour started in 1995, and it's still going on.
Still going on. There used to be some horror stories about some of these male jocks in radio that were pretty disgusting.
I didn't experience it. I was too busy trying to arm wrestle them for ads.
She's been my friend a long time, and it was such a treasure to have her on the show, just to be able to talk with her about that. I don't think anybody had more fun than Junior did. Tell us all about it, Junior.
I just love her. I've loved her since I was a kid. I mean, obviously she's beautiful, but she has some awesome songs, and man, she's just so cool, laid
just
back.
cool, man.
She had a camo hat on or something. Just
She loves to fish.
Yeah, loves fishing. Come on.
Oh yeah,
She's cool.
Yeah.
That one, to give some perspective on the BTS of things, that one I wasn't here for. I had a prior commitment, and I get a text, and it's like, Terry has the wrong day. She thought it was tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my God. And your stomach just sinks, and then it like catches fire, and then of like fear. And then I'm like, did I tell her wrong? And so I'm like going through every email. I am all looking, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, no, I said it right. I said it right. Yay, I said it right. So that was a little terrifying at first, but it was such a good episode.
Yeah, she felt terrible about that too.
But we made it work. I think she came in the next day. We were able to get
that's
some
what it was, the wrong
chimes.
time. And then y'all ended up the next day.
We had to move
That's
to the
right.
next day. I don't remember. I had something else going
Yeah, that
on.
night.
We
You had
had
a
something.
dinner that night.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
couldn't
But she
stand.
was a fun artist to have. You know, she's kind of been running parallel with me. She's had Country Gold on one of the major radio conglomerates that she's done for up 10 years, and she's just finishing that up this year. And I've been doing the honky tonk thing for the last 10 years. So we've kind of been running parallel with the extracurricular things we've done outside of making records and touring and all that stuff.
It was cool to see those old pictures too of y'all back in the day. Like, that was hilarious.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of laughs over the years. She's always been very cool. We'll have to get her back.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Stampley.
When I got started, if you wasn't on key and couldn't make it sound right, you didn't get a record out. Ray Charles said it best. They asked him, when are you going to retire? And he said, retire to what? All of a sudden, I'm hearing a song called Sticks and Stones. I said, damn, that sounds like Tracy.
No, if you got to wait for an hour or so, you might as well go in Cracker Barrel and eat.
That's right.
I do love me some Cracker Barrel, and they are not sponsoring us, but I do love me some Cracker Barrel.
They got us to do our last show at the Piggly Wiggly parking lot in Spring Hill, Louisiana.
I wouldn't call them what I did actually playing, but I was there with a bag of clubs.
He says, by golly, Joe, if you're man enough to do it, I'm man enough too.
Oh my gosh.
I love that man. I've known him since I was 18 years old. He's like the really first big artist that I ever met that was actually touring around on a bus. And I got to say this before I forget it. I remember that parking lot at the Piggly Wiggly in Spring Hill. I think we were playing when I was living down in that area before I came to Nashville. I was dating a girl from college, and we were playing in the parking lot there on a flatbed trailer. And the band that I was in, they had this girl that was in the band that was singing background vocals, and she got a little bit too close to me. My girlfriend came down there and jerked her off the stage by the hair of the head and whooped her ass right there in front of God and everybody.
Oh my!
It was awesome.
Hell yeah.
I have to throw that out there. But I love me some Joe Stampley. You know, he's one of those old guys, and he still does a handful of shows a year. Him and Mo still do their thing. So he's fascinating with a lot of great old stories. Man, I love those old cats. They laid the foundation for everything that we have now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to I was not super familiar with Joe, but except for you. But like it's kind of like now there's so many artists that you might not ever hear of, but they still were influential on your life.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so cool. I love to circle back to that.
You know, a lot of those guys get forgotten about, like Mo and Joe. They won Entertainer of the Year in the 80s. They were huge, man. You forget the big records that they had. They were ginormous. I mean,
wow.
And plus they had their own individual career, and Joe was a pop star back in the day. I mean, he had a band called the Uniques. Yeah. He was with a pop band. You know, he'd been making records since he was like 15.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
That is awesome. All right, Dylan Scott.
I can remember elementary school on the playground telling my buddies I'm moving to Nashville, Tennessee. Least favorite thing just
the business.
The business, yeah. Probably the business. Some of my closest friends and my family text me going, love this new song you put out. It was on the record 2 years ago. It's been out for 2 years.
Try to stay away from them. They drink too damn much.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder where we got that from.
Shut up. I'm telling my secrets. What did you find from that pondering on that particular question?
Not a dang thing.
Didn't figure any of it out.
I just drove myself crazy.
Hey, well, I think I was eating a plate of spaghetti, and she looked up at me, and she just stared at me for the longest time, and she said, "You eat?"
They'll just be like looking at you, and they're like, what are you doing here? I was like, what do you mean? What are you doing here? I was like, I live here.
I find him very fascinating, and I love his entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh, it's so cool.
He's got a trash collection service that he started during COVID. Plus, he's out touring and writing songs and doing all the things that he's doing. I respect that a lot. I found him very interesting.
I wonder what his business manager thinks with wanting so many entrepreneurial activities.
They ought to love it. More revenue streams.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, if it does well. All right, May Estes.
Who put me in a 90s country trivia against Tracy Lawrence?
She kicked my ass. I couldn't get the answers out fast enough.
It is a very strange position to be put in where you're your only team member and all of a sudden you have 200. It don't mean you're not grateful for it, but it don't mean it ain't hard.
Yeah,
either.
And sometimes you get tired and you get pissy. It makes me excited to see folks like you and like Zach Top that are coming in that are revitalizing the traditionalism of country music.
We find a Buc-ee's, we are living large, man. We're like, this is heaven.
Well, I like weird people too. And you never find any stranger people on the planet than musicians and songwriters and artists. We're a strange lot.
It feels like I kind of have to half-ass it. And I don't half-ass anything well.
I like her a lot.
She's such a hoot.
And she's from back home, so she's from Hope, Arkansas. I remember that. And I met her years ago when I was playing the Watermelon Festival back there, which is a big festival that we have back home. A lot of big watermelons come out of Hope, Arkansas. So I met her years ago, and to see her do that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See folks from back home that you inspired that kind of made the journey and doing this whole thing. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. She's so sweet, and I think that she's going to do really well.
Yeah, I think it might take a little bit, but she's going to get some traction. She sings too good not to. Girl's good.
Yeah. Great singer.
All right, Mr. Drew Parker.
I truly feel like this is God's plan for my life, is to be a light in what can be a dark world. Who am I opening for? Well, it's this new guy out of North Carolina. His name's Luke Holmes, and I'm like, all right, well, I don't know who that is, but sure. I'm pretty shy until I'm like, just get until you say something that makes 2 shots. 2 beers. 2 beers.
You're competing against the football games and the tractor pull and the fairs and festivals. All you're competing against everything, wrestling and wrestling.
Yeah, all of it. She's like, Daddy, can we play? I'm like, yeah, we can play nap time. Let's see who can keep their eyes closed the longest.
I got thrown out of the car for trying to cut a donut on a gravel road because it was front wheel drive. Yeah, I got in trouble.
This was I got to open for Willie. I did a weekend run with him.
You didn't go on the bus, did you?
I didn't have to.
His laugh cracks me up, man.
Yeah, he was pretty interesting. I like those young guys. It's fun to find common ground with all these folks.
The X-ray question that took a turn I wasn't expecting, but it worked out great.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
A cup that big?
And
a Yeti.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, the roof.
There's what all had to happen before that to be able to get something that size up there. There's a lot that led up to that. I mean, that's months of dedication right there. Come on, man.
I don't even know. I
fell down in the shower my ass.
Yeah.
See what I did there.
What I would like to know where that person is now and if he learned from the mistakes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Because I even said,
They
was
probably
it a
can't
woman?
get far away from the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Can't clamp it down.
No.
Blow daddy's O-ring.
Oh, so bad. So bad.
Got to put my plug in before I go out.
You like see my thermos?
It's a Yeti lid.
Have you seen my Yeti? It looks like this. Now I'm looking for the big gulp now. Oh my god. Oh, that's too funny.
If I was his family, I would or if anybody knew about it, I would like get him a Christmas ornament to open up and it'd be like a little Yeti or something hanging on the tree.
God.
Always
some roofing
remember
nails.
it. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, there was more than one nail.
Yeah,
also,
more than one nail up in the.
Yeah.
Just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Just don't make sense.
Carry on.
Okay. Renegades. This was one of our most recents.
When they named me the most problematic woman of the year. And I'm like, you know what? That is a badge I wear with honor because it's seldom that unproblematic people get things done. Oh my gosh, the amount of hours that I have stared at that same black line. Click the elevator button and the elevator doors open and it's Michael Phelps. And I, again, 15-year-old me, I'm like, what am I doing here? Do I belong here? Like, that's Michael Phelps.
Only thing more ridiculous than that was the Australian breakdancing girl.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't get spooked or scared easily, you know. I'm one that stands my ground, but in that moment, I mean, I truthfully feared for my life.
In the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen it go to the point where we can't even agree to disagree on anything anymore. Is there any political aspirations in the future for you? Has this opened up some doors for that?
We'll see. I'm not that crazy yet.
I really liked her. She's smart. She's talented. I mean, obviously, she's a world-class athlete, but she's highly intelligent and has great fortitude. She has taken a lot of heat out there for her stance and where she's at, and I agree with her wholeheartedly on where she's at and what she's doing. So I think that was one of the more interesting conversations that I think we had all of last year was with Riley.
Very, very well spoken, for sure.
You know, and it's so scary in this day and age. You know, it's easy to catch so much backlash from all that stuff. But I think we need to start focusing as a society on the things that unite us, that give us common ground, and kind of move away from all the chaos and stuff that's out there in the world. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. So hopefully we can move past that in the next few months. I think that would be one wish that I would have, if the world would not be so freaking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
I will say too, even if you were on opposing views with her or with anybody, I will say that you are one to very much listen to the other person, to understand where they're coming from at least. And you can't say that about a lot of people that have a platform. And so I think that's really cool.
Well, we are media now.
I know.
Once you become media, you're supposed to be unbiased. You're supposed to that's just the way it's supposed to be as media, isn't it? That's the way I grew up. I mean, that's what Walter Cronkite was. Not so much nowadays. But I mean, I think when you're doing things like that, I think being impartial. I mean, if you're just gonna dominate the conversation and not let anybody, what's the point in having guests on there if you're just gonna dominate the conversation?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm interested in hearing what your perspective is, how you got there, what led up to the situation that you're in, all those things. I mean, I find all that very fascinating. That's kind of part of the conversation.
Yeah, right.
It's
weird.
What it's about.
Okay, Jordan Davis.
He was like, "Look, let me tell you this. Nashville was fine when you moved here, and Nashville's going to be fine when it kicks your ass and you move back home." I knew how tough Mondays were for him to probably open a radio chart and see that my song had jumped 6 spots and his had fell back 3. And I go to lean against these French doors and just straight through them into this bar, knock over this high top table, cause a huge scene.
Could have gone through $2 million at 18. I mean, probably quick.
Real quick. Real quick.
And had a damn good time doing it too.
I've maybe played on like acoustic guitar on like 3 of my songs.
You don't want me playing on it.
No, like I don't want to play on a record. I know that.
All the lights and the smoke and mirrors and all that stuff should just accent what you're doing
100%.
musically. You shouldn't build the show around all that other stuff.
100%. Hits this cable and goes knee first into the back of the guitar and picks it up, and it's just hanging.
That's right. I've heard.
What an amazing year he's had.
Oh,
Actually,
my
amazing
gosh.
couple of years. I mean, he's had some really massive hits out there. I'm proud for him and a talented guy. And we have history. So for those of y'all that may not have watched this episode, his uncle, Stan Paul Davis, was one of the songwriters on Better Man, Better Off and Today's Lonely Fool, which were 2 big #1 records that I had. So we have a little bit of a history together, and he sounds so much like his uncle. He really does. Has a lot of the same vocal characteristics and little nuances. I mean, really, you can tell that they're related. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of musical families that we're learning, or not that we're learning about. We all knew they're there, but like just that have really, like you said, kind of become a dynasty almost in certain ways.
Pretty much. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's such a I just want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Like I was like, man, like you're a cool energy.
Yeah.
Good storyteller.
Laid back.
Yeah.
Just, very cool guy.
Goes with it. So.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to do a follow-up with him at some point in the next year or so, because he's one of those guys that is really having a tremendous... He's on the wave.
Yeah.
He's riding the wave.
Yeah.
He ain't trying to figure out where to go. He's just holding on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is a fun place to be.
Yeah, that seems like it.